Welcome to Godzilla X Reader, My King by Creepy Noodle 105. This is, I think I already said that, sorry. I am losing my mind. And, I am currently being harassed by, um, oh my goodness, I am losing my mind by allergies at the moment. So, I'm currently dying. Not really, but it feels like it. So if my voice is a little bit deeper than normal, you know why. My allergies are killing me. But, okay, might as well get into the video while we can. Vacation. The sun was shining pridefully in the clear sky as clouds whisked by gracefully. Birds chirped their friendly calls as life continued in repeating cycle. Meanwhile, your name walked out of the hospital in a neon blue dress that flowed down to her knees, along with flats for comfort. The fresh air smelled like heaven compared to the sanitized hospital scent she had to endure each day. Immediately after stepping outside, she called in a taxi, waiting patiently for it before it arrived, instructing her destination to the driver. When she reached her building, she paid the designated operator and entered the cool premises. She exhaled contently and limped towards her kitchen due to the thick, grasping cast molded around her leg firmly. As she opened up the refrigerator, she grabbed an apple juice box and drank greedily, parched yet and yearning, for something sweet. As soon as she finished, her phone rang from her bag and that had been recovered. It was her boss. "Hello?" she asked calmly. "Oh, your name. I am so glad you are okay. I heard you got attacked by a shark. Do you need a few months off? I can't believe I allowed you to put yourself in danger. If you don't feel you can come back to work, take as long as you need, okay?" And then quickly replied with, "It's okay, really. It wasn't your fault. I wasn't being smart or careful. I just left the hospital and I'm healing really well. Nothing a little injury can do to stop me from doing my job. Another thing, I lost my stuff in the boat, which is more than likely sitting at the bottom of the ocean right now. I wasn't dumb. I knew how much the equipment was, but I had never even thought of the probability of losing it all." Nervousness swelled up in the woman's body as her hand shook slightly. She really didn't know what to expect, only hoping her boss would forgive her and move on, exempt her after what she went through. Her thoughts were interrupted when her boss spoke. "Don't blame yourself. It was my fault. I was the one who sent you to get those sketches and samples, risking your life in the process. So don't worry about getting in trouble. You won't get any. Although if you feel, go on ahead and press charges. I won't stop you. One of my own employees almost died. I'm not taking your career away. How about you take a small vacation for a month? Enjoy your vacation while taking time to heal during that duration, because you've done lots already, alright?" Your name agreed, shutting down the idea of pressing charges and hung up. Hung up the phone after saying goodbye. After finishing her nightly routine and getting ready for bed, the injured woman immediately fell into an easy, deep sleep. A long few hours had passed as your name slept soundly. When she awoke, the sky had risen with a bright horizon line fading upwards with a deep mixture of blue and purple mixing in perfectly into each other. Yawning, she... What the fuck? We're just gonna skip that word because I have no idea what the hell that is. Rose up and picked out a favorite color t-shirt, and black leggings to wear for the day. She shuffled to her bathroom, taking a nice, long, warm shower. Afterwards, brushing her teeth and combing her hair into a lazy bun with strands of loose hair framing her face. The time read 7:36 a.m. She huffed sleepily and wandered into her kitchen for a light breakfast. After a few minutes of deciding what to eat, she decided on yogurt with oats and fruit in it. Today is officially the first day of vacation for me, she acknowledged, while glancing down at her phone on social media. After what after what went down a couple months ago, she definitely deserved it. Eventually, after thinking of things to do to pass the time and enjoy, she called up a good friend of hers, Violet. 2 days later, at a spa reservation, euphoria is all she felt during the duration of the relaxing massage. To finally unwind and not have to frequently stress about what's going on oh sorry not to stress on how she's gonna get her task done or conditions she would have to manage in. Currently your name and her best friend from high school, Violet Williams, joined her on vacation. She glanced over lazily at her friend to see if she was sleeping due to the slight snoring next to her on the other long cushioned table. She was correct. She watched as her hazel brown hair stopped at her mid back with streaks of violet purple color in her hair. The two women laid comfortably on the cushioned table surfaces on their stomachs. Oh my goodness, on her stomach side while listening to peaceful music until Violet gradually woke up after a good while. She gazed she gave a lazy grin at your name and yawned. Wow, what an amazing day I'm having. I needed this desperately too. When you have to constantly hear dogs barking while squeakers and cats scratching us violently each day, like we're going through. It gets annoying as hell, but I'm glad I'm here with you to finally relax and take my mind off a stressful job. Your name hummed in agreement. Yeah, I truly needed this. I'm just glad my boss didn't do something too crazy, allowing me this nice month off to heal. Although after the shark attack, I thought I'd die alone and in pain. Godzilla saved me. Can you believe that? A colossal titan who causes destruction in battle. His enemy, battling his enemy, rescued me. A tiny bug to him. I'm truly grateful for his help. When your name announced Godzilla, Violet's head immediately snapped up to look at her with dreamy eyes. Hold up. Really? Oh my god, you're so lucky. Godzilla is like my big time crush. He's so amazing and cute. All the shut up. Woman could let out right now was a week. Um, isn't that basically bestiality or something? Violet responded, no, not in a sexual way. I just have a thing for creatures. I know it's weird and definitely not normal for people, but it's what I prefer. And continued ranting on how spectacular and handsome the oversized lizard was. Although as soon as she realized her friend was chatting more in depth and getting too far with her words, something was very slowly building up in your name's heart. What was this weird feeling? Protectiveness? Nervousness? Jealousy, perhaps? Your name suddenly didn't feel comfortable with how her friend was getting so sucked up into her fantasy world, so she interrupted. Oh, well, would you look at the time? It's getting late, so I best be getting home now. The woman massaging her back understood the tone and sighed, and signaled that the other staff member out of the room to get the bill while Violet watched confusingly at her as her friend scurried around, gathering her clothes and leaving her in a rush, but not before saying goodbye and paying. Of course, over the course of 2 weeks, your name had given herself a particular manicure, a pedicure, manicure, bought some summer clothing, and explored more of Tokyo. It was so beautiful and brightly lit at the night, revealing a lovely and wonderful capital of Japan. As she was off duty for the meantime, Yone managed to apply for classes to learn and speak more Japanese to communicate with the others and understand what they were even saying. If the language was difficult to keep up and learn, all of this really paid off too. Yone knew that once her euphoria wore off and the months passed and her legs scarred over and the cast is removed, she would have to get back to work. In the back of her mind, a small voice just begged and hoped that she would still have a similar task to keep up close and study Godzilla for real. Wait, what did she just think? Why would she want to get herself back into a dangerous situation again? Was it to observe his stern, monstrous self out of curiosity? Or maybe was it just a little word called love? Oh my goodness, I'm already having instant regrets about this. And sorry for my sniffling if y'all can hear it. I am currently dying. I took some allergy medicine earlier and oh my goodness, it is wearing off already. One more chapter, we got this. The mysterious boat. Time speedily passed by and vacation month was finally over, reminding the woman that she would have to get back to work. As someone working in the science division, the woman was repeatedly tasked with sketching, re-evaluating information, and traveling to different destinations. Currently, she was in the process of sketching some clear, although scribbled images of Motos and Ochis fighting Godzilla. Her boss had previously tasked her to sketch out a past battle of local newspaper and company websites after a brutal battle went down between the three of them. It was difficult finding a good angle to illustrate the scene since nothing good stood still to capture a clear shot, but she managed a bit with challenges. Her hair color, her hair was tied in a high bun. On top of her head was some strands of hair cascading carelessly down the sides of her face. Her tongue stood out of her mouth a bit as she placed rough rush detail in Monto's legs and arms. A few quick hours passed for which the exhausted woman managed to finish the sketch, so she grabbed her bag laying on the sandy ground away from her destruction and chaos with the drawing and called for a taxi. Blurred buildings and people passed as the moving vehicle finds its destination without too much trouble of traffic. She reached her design place, Laboratory of Science. She sighed amusedly. Such a simple name for a top-notch organization, but that's what it was always going to be called. Your name quickly paid the driver and rushed to get inside the building. When she entered through the fancy automated doors, cool air blasted down onto her from the air conditioning like typhoon, hit her for a few seconds before she relaxed. She currently wore a black, smooth pencil skirt with an ivory white blouse along with matching heels. The overall wasn't made for summer heat in Tokyo. Your name's heels clicked across the pearly white tiled floors as she made her way down the bright um, corridor to her lab. Her name tag swung with every step she took, not stopping anywhere just to get to her goodness, designated room because the last employee was reassigned to a different lab in a different state. She had the whole vicinity my goodness, vicinity room to herself. As she opened the oak door with her own name engraved onto it in gold lettering, a sweet strawberry aroma danced throughout the room, invading her nostrils in a delicious yet addicting way. I'd always loved fruit smells, especially strawberries. Yanae placed her bag down and took out a sketch. Her iPhone rang a few seconds later, alerting her of the ID caller, so she placed it against her ear. "What can I do for you, Mr. Williams?" Her boss's familiar gruff voice spoke throughout the other line. "Hey, your name. Hopefully by now you're done with your sketch. So just go to my office and place it on my desk. The door should be unlocked. Then mind going to Jacob's lab so he can give you your next assignment." "Of course, no problem," she replied, before then exchanging goodbyes and hung up. The wide, pristine white painted walls seemed to glow under the bright LED lights hanging in the ceiling. It was dead silent on the way to Jacob's lab, except for a couple of workers strolling down the corridor. After a few turns and up the set of stairs, your name made it to her boss's office. The door frame was created from a firm yet beautiful white oak lining. Around the oak door was the golden plaque. She turned the handle, revealing the spacious office from the sunlight peeking through the ocean blue curtains. When she entered, the female employee immediately walked up to her boss's fancy oak desk and placed the file down before leaving the same way she entered. Luckily for her, Jacob's lab was located right across from her own lab. It was super simple instead of having to walk up more stairs, taking elevators to corridors that led to another attached buildings or possibly into the basement. That was unlikely. She opened the matching door across from her lab, revealing a clean, organized room, except for a few instruments and gadgets sitting on tables, while a man was currently writing rushed notes down on a clipboard while watching a green vial turn orange. When he finally looked up, a warm smile overtook his facial features, and his baby blue eyes scrunched up with a friendliness. His hazel brown hair with blonde highlights were gleed and combed back. "Hey, your name? You ready for your next project?" She nodded her head excitedly, then shuffled closer to his desk while he reached for manila folder with the drawer. In a drawer, my God. Cannot read today. When she walked out with said item, her face was a bit shocked to say the least. Her mind was mentally exploding in a bunch of unprocessed pieces. Her next take was to go back to the ocean on a cruiser. But here's the catch. At the dead of night, from the looks of the information, there's an unknown nocturnal fish species that only appears when it's dark out. She bit her lip and shuffled quickly back to her lab and grabbed her company gifted black leather bag. As soon as she exited the ginormous building, she called for a taxi. A rented car would have probably been much more convenient and effective, but it would cost too much money for gas each time it needed to be filled. And the woman constantly needed to travel to places not appropriate for vehicles, so it would be less stressful this way. She flagged one down, entering the yellow car, and requested the taxi driver to drive her down to her apartment address. The mini apartment was the same when she came back home. Everything was pretty bland with cream-colored walls and wooden flooring, but home was home, and she wouldn't change anything about it, except maybe adding a few decorations and paintings here and there. Renee dug through her small walk-in closet and eventually pulled out a pearly white wetsuit with her job logo on the left chest. She released the formal spun and replaced it with a high ponytail before putting her things away. The woman heated up some leftovers before chugging everything down and leaving her apartment building. After going down 2 corridors, an elevator ride down, and a left turn, she made it to the front lobby of her building, which she exited starting to think of just walking or calling a taxi. That is until a strange man going out of a black, sleek, expensive car, walking straight towards her. Your name stood shocked. Stopped, still, unknowing of what to do, since she was still in her wetsuit with only blue waterproof jacket to cover her. He stopped before her and calmly asked, "Is your name last name from the Laboratory of Science?" She slowly nodded, and he responded with, "It's okay. No need to be nervous. I'm from the laboratory as well. I'm going to be your designated driver." As he finished speaking, he reached inside his coat pocket, revealing his name tag, the same one all employees were required to have. She nodded in agreement and climbed in. A while later at the beach, your name got out of the luxurious car, thanking her driver. As she walked down to the beach to the dock, 2 employees from her work were waiting for her at a white cruiser with a company logo on it. After starting conversation on her task and supplies to bring as well, showing her how they worked, such as the medical kit, handy tools, she climbed into the expensive cruiser. She twisted the ignition on with a stainless steel key and reversed the water vehicle out to its station before accelerating away. There were also 2 SAT phones included with that was attached to the interior of the ship, so if another attack occurred or an emergency evacuation was required, she would have it ready for use. Long, boring hours had passed, and the sun was just starting to set below the horizon. Her eyes were adjusting to the dim sky, but once blue ocean was basically pitch black. She shivered a bit due to the slight wind that blew through. She ate some energy-prepped snacks inside the compartment so that she was alert and acquired energy to keep herself awake and on the lookout for the fish. The radar and other mechanical equipment were splayed out across the front deck, desk, next to the steering wheel and buttons atop of levers. They beeped every now and then until the daylight sensor clicked, changing the screen to dark green since the sky was officially dark out. The waves crashed gently but rarely too rough against her cruiser, although no damage was done. Well, not yet. After what seemed like an eternity of finding nothing, a dim light appeared in the distance from behind her. Well, it certainly couldn't be the sun since it's only 11:30 p.m. What was it? Maybe another ship? The latter seemed more likely. She kept her gaze at the water, observing hawk-eyed to see if any strange multicolored movements glided through, but unfortunately nothing yet. When she whipped her head behind her again, her mind was apprehensive and suspicious. Did the light get brighter and bigger, or did this ship follow her and get closer? Well, actually thinking back, your name had changed course 4 times over the span of 30 minutes into completely different directions, only to be followed again? Was it her employees coming to ensure she was okay, or any blankets about blanks about the fish were finally answered? Most likely not, because no one went into the ocean unless you entered illegally or had work-related reasons to be present. Panic started bubbling inside of your name, and she honestly didn't know what to do in that moment. The freaked out woman immediately rushed into the cabin captain's cabin and slammed on the accelerator. She realized that the ship was only accelerating straight towards her, and every time she sped up or turned a different direction, it followed right behind her. Frightened to death and overtaken by adrenaline and fear, now that aggressive ship was almost a boat length away, she, she ran to the phone and dialed 911. Static ran through it, but no signal went across. Did the other ship interfere with her signal? Was she gonna die? She almost did a few months back, so maybe it was her karma catching up with her. Suddenly, something fierce and rough crashed into her from behind. When she turned quickly behind her from whiplash, she noticed the front of the boat literally crashing into the rear of a small cruiser. Oh no. The spotlights on the huge boat turned off. Suddenly, strange men with black clothing simultaneously appeared from the deck, looking down at her. What the? She scrambled hastily back into her cabin, shutting and locking the metal door with the clear window. Watching them warningly attach strong grappling hooks onto her cruiser, she shakily sat down and slouched underneath the dashboard while covering her ears and shutting her eyes. Tears were on the verge of falling as she heard loud bangs and thumps of what seemed like hostile people trying to break in. What did they want? Why was she being targeted? Why was she always unable to do anything or defend herself? First a shark attack, then her friend, and now mysterious men in black gear were banging harshly on the door. Suddenly, as a dangerous group had invaded her cruiser, everything went dead silent. What was happening? This is strange. Everything just stopped in sync, tense and a tense minute later, terrified screams were heard. Very unmanly screams, too. The cruiser rocked a bit, and some strange deep noises were heard. Huffing and growling? A loud creaking started, and the sinking sound of a ship had distressed and distributed the once calm wave into a frenzy. Then it was gone again. Quietly and slowly, she raised, nerve-wracked, from her spot near the control panel and tiptoed while keeping out of sight from the window to the door. She peeked through the glass, but no one was visible. Not even the pursuing ship that had once occupied hostile people. She was in shock. Her jaw almost hit the floor and her eyeballs almost popped out of her head. What the hell? It was all just there a second ago. Did it sink? Did something sink it? Was she hallucinating all of this from being out at sea for too long? Sorry. The woman cautiously opened the creaking door and walked out onto the deck. It was wet, which meant that something big was just here and splashed water while attacking the bigger boat. Was there some type of bigger creature out there? When she looked out to sea with her flashlight, she scanned the whole surface around her until her hand and her body stopped moving. Before her orbs, from the distance with the reflection of the now rising sun, was the infamous Godzilla, or at least the tips of his back spikes. Your name watched the scene before they disappeared under the water surface completely. He had saved her again. Was this a sign or something? A coincidence? Maybe inside she secretly knew she would meet or see him again, even if it was just for a quick glance. But it doesn't matter now because she was saved by a worldwide hero. Although it seemed every time she ever uttered anything about Godzilla, something strange buzzed inside of her. What was it? Maybe a blooming affection for the giant beast had increased or formed over the months? Who knows? Maybe someday if she ever meets him, Just maybe if she could study him better and possibly figure out why her body was reacting the way it did. But for now, she just had to accept that one, her best friend is in love with him, and two, she would never be good enough in terms of, well, everything, nonetheless, be the same species as him. She liked him, and that was final. Well, that's probably all I'm gonna read for today. My nose is and my throat is killing me, literally. But I hope you all enjoyed this book. It's kind of a little bit iffy, but I do hope it does get better. Um, well, thank you all for watching. I did hope you enjoy. Please put down in the comments if I should keep on reading this or because it's not too bad. It's okay. But if you do like this, please like and subscribe for some more. And leave down in the comments what I should read next after this. This book does have, I think, if I remember correctly, about 60 or so pages. I don't know how many parts I'm gonna do of it. We'll figure that out later. But anyways, I love you all. Please be careful out there. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!